Alright, you guys, Z06 Corvette Heads and Cam Saga Part 2. So, first thing is I want to say thanks to Jason at Andrew Corp. Sent me this sweet hat and some other stuff. Been dealing with them for a few years, done a few of my AR builds through them, and actually the AR that I keep by my bed, so in theory the one that I would be relying on the most in the most critical times, that is actually also supplied by Andrew Corp parts. So definitely appreciate it, and if you guys are looking to do a good build, give them a call. They they love America, they love cars, they love guns. What else do you really want in the company? But all right. On to the Corvette. So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual parts. So for this one, the car was put together by Speed Inc. They did a custom grind cam on it. The duration is a 227 and then 243. I don't know what the stock specs are, but I know it's not radically higher. My original thought was doing something like a 240, even a 250, get that really good long thump from the cam. But Tony at Speed Inc. talked me out of it, saying that it would not behave great on the street and it wouldn't be something that would be very fun to drive. So settle on this. Definitely do like the way it feels. We'll get into kind of that a little bit later. The heads were done by Texas Speed. It's still 11.8 compression ratio or compression on that one, I believe. So I don't know exactly. I forgot. I'd have to look at the spec sheets, but that's what the total package was. It was installed by Speed Inc. Like I was saying, did a great job. It was like one of the first times in my history of dealing with cars that everything went smoothly. All my past cars I've taken to shops, there's always been a delay of some sort, some added costs. With this, it was great. I just told them what I wanted. He sent me just an estimate and then a timeline, and every single one was right on point. So the only thing I think I ended up having to pay extra was like on sales tax, but that's not on them. So I was definitely very happy with the parts and the build itself. Next thing is the sound, because that is a big factor when it comes to this decision. So originally, like I was saying just a little bit earlier, I wanted something with a really longer duration to give a really good chop. I'll post a sound clip here right now. So as you can hear, it's a little bit of chop. I had to do it inside the car. As you saw with the first portion of the video, like outside, you can't really hear it very well because of the equalizer in the microphone on the phone. So I'm going to try to do a better job of that. Maybe just try standing someone further back. I'll work on that, but I wanted to post the one inside the car because you can at least hear it does have a nice chop on it. So wide open throttle is a lot louder than it was stock. It's definitely picked up a few decibels there. Weirdly enough, so when you're kind of sneaking into in your neighborhood, late at night, usually you kind of like just put in the clutch and try to like coast it in. With this one, I noticed when it's coasting and it's cam chopping, that's actually louder than when it's under like a light load of like 1500 or so RPMs. So when the other night when I was trying to sneak it in, relatively speaking, gave it a little bit of gas just to kind of just limped it along, and it ended up being quieter than just the normal like kind of like with the clutch in, so yeah, overall though, very pleased with the way it sounds. Because that's the part that really I feel is like the soul of the car, and that's kind of why I've been resistant to electric vehicles. Even though Jason, he just always tells me how much he loves his Teslas, but it's just that the car has no soul. So moving along, the power. The car put about 100 rear-wheel horsepower more to the ground than it did when it was stock with the bolt-ons. It put down 574 at Speed Inc. and last year when I had it down here locally, I think it was like 468. So it did pick up about 100 real horsepower. And the cool thing about it, or I guess depending on how you look at it, is that even though it's got more power, it doesn't feel much different. So it's not scary. It's just you're moving a lot faster than you think you are. So if you're flooring it, it feels like it did, when I drove the car last year. But when you look down, you're just going, 30 miles per hour faster. So it's a really, really nice power delivery. I know, a lot of that has to do with the tune, and also it's not being, a crazy aggressive cam. And it was also tuned for just a pump gas, so it's, not for like E85 or anything like that. So it was pretty basic, great delivery, really, really happy with that. And so the last thing on that I wanted to touch base on, and this one's probably the most important one to me, is the drivability. So it's a street car. Like, I don't go to the track super often, although I think I am going here in like a month. But we'll see how that begin. You know, like, I've owned the car for 4 years now, 3 years, and, you know, it's going to be going to the track once. So it's not a track car. It's something I drive on the street. And I don't have a lot of time as it is anyways, so I don't want it to be something like, this really isn't going to be that much fun to drive. So I want to just be able to get in, turnkey, and go. And that really is what Speed Ink gave me. This thing, it handles exactly the same now as it did before I took it there, except it just has more power. So I really, really like that. It's not hard. Like, I've, you know, been stopped on some, you know, hills and inclines. Behaves just like normal. It doesn't ever like try to choke and die. That's been really nice. Even just, you know, like idling a stop sign or stop light, whatever. I know that some of these cars with the big cams, you know, you can hear them like sputtering as they're dying. And it's, you know, gotta give them gas to keep them going. Nothing like that. You know, super pleasant to drive. You know, I don't ever have to worry about it. So that's been awesome. Overall, I would say it's been a great experience. I was actually about to sell the car, as I mentioned the other week in a video when I was about selling the M3, and look at an R8. I actually had a buyer lined up, and, you know, I got to drive the car, and when I did, I'm like, man, this thing is fantastic. Like, I can't get rid of this. So I let him know, like, hey man, sorry, but I think I'm gonna keep the car. he was nice, very understanding guy, but yeah, it's been a blast. So like the last week that I've had this thing. So I can't wait to drive a little bit more this summer and get some other, you know, do some other fun stuff with it. But other than that, you know, hey, I really appreciate the time, and hopefully the process, if any of you were looking to do a cam on your Corvette, give you a little bit of insight of kind of, you know, what my thoughts were and feelings, and kind of help maybe shape, you know, how you go about your own build. So I appreciate it, and we will see you next time.